we have discussed about the violations in different spheres, and in terms of irrigation, we thoroughly discussed about the violations in the construction of Nagarjuna Sagar. Now we will see what is happening with Krishna. River Krishna, as we know, two districts, one is Mahabubnagar and the other is Nalgonda. These two districts are the districts which are completely having its agriculture and everything. The life is dependent on Krishna in these two districts. Krishna, Bhima, Tungabhadra. All these three rivers were present in one district, that is Mahabubnagar. Krishna, Bhima and Tungabhadra. In spite of having these three rivers, Palamuru is the center, Palamuru is a district, or Mahabubnagar is a district which is famous for the migration of labor. Why? Why people have to leave their places and go? If irrigation would have been properly done here, the situation would not have been like that. Mahabubnagar, though Krishna is running through the length and breadth of the state and entering into the other state from this border, there is no attempt to build Upper Krishna, Bhima or Tungabhadra low level canal, which I discussed Sanjeev Reddy stalling. Though these projects were designed much before 1956, so these three should have been executed. These three projects should have been constructed by at least making some efforts. In the entire period till 69, we see no paperwork, not even a single letter was sent to center or any other person or with other stakeholders like Karnataka by Andhra Pradesh government. Means they completely neglected these three projects. By neglecting that, what has happened? Entire Mahabubnagar is devoid of a proper irrigation source. Though Mahabubnagar is having Krishna, we can see Mahabubnagar city, Mahabubnagar town, actually now it's somewhat better. But Mahabubnagar town, 4 or 5 years before, we can see they used to get drinking water once in 15 days or 10 days. River like Krishna flowing in the district and you don't get drinking water. River like Krishna flowing in the district, you don't get the irrigation water. And we are forced to migrate as labor. This is the tragedy. And very interesting thing, Krishna river was the cradle of civilization in Paleolithic period, Mesolithic period. Pedamaruru, Chinamaruru, or Dongalagattu, or Mudumal, all these are the centers when human evolution was there in Mahabubnagar district. Now what is happening? Where's human evolution? Human civilization evolved. Prehistoric people lived, and early historic phase is happening, and now people are forced to live because the same river is not the source anymore. This is the tragedy. Then come to the agriculture as a whole. Neglect of agriculture can be seen in this entire period. Expenditure on agriculture between 1956 and 68. If you see the disparity between the allocations, Andhra, it was 35.43 crores, whereas Telangana 15.66 crores. Telangana's share should have been 21.36 crores according to the gentleman's agreement, because the surplus which we get, you have to spend here. But what we are getting? We are getting 15.66, at least 5 to 6 crores less allocations to Telangana in agriculture sector. Then discrimination in fertilizer supply. We can see the statistics. Need not explain the statistics always. We can see if you can take 1 year reference date 64 to 65, 72.7% of fertilizer supply was in Andhra and we have 27, and check 67 and 68, very, very bad state. 91% of the fertilizer supply was in Andhra and 9% was in Telangana. How can you expect Telangana agriculturists to survive all the hurdles and thrive? This is the problem. Next, electricity. 1956 to 68, rural electrification. We can see Andhra got 98 crores, Telangana got 10 crores. Means 100, approximately 100, this is 10. 1/10 of the allocations you can see for Telangana. Rural electrification is a very important aspect for the developmental issue in rural areas. And very interestingly, when Andhra was reeling under powerlessness, means they did not have power, and Hyderabad was producing the power and we had electricity here. Our own Hyderabad was producing in 1930s, and now in United Andhra Pradesh, this rural electrification got a raw deal. And revenues. See, all these things are every department. I am showing you one example or two examples for each sector or a department. Revenue, for example, you take land revenue is a very important source of income for the government. And land revenue, in spite of the opposition from Telangana MLAs, it was hiked in Telangana. 1967. And you see, whenever you are hiking the land revenue and assessing, reassessing and adjusting the land revenue, it should be proper, justified and equal. And if you see the land tax of Andhra and Telangana, 1962 land tax, if we see, it is 13 crores 26 lakhs 31,366 land tax. And from Telangana it was 5 crores 1 lakh. 1967 they have amended tax after 5 years. What should have happened in general? Tax will always rise. If 13 crores 26 lakhs is collected from Andhra, at least it should be 13.26 or it should be 13 or 14, at least a marginal rise. Generally we see, did we see at any point of time tax is being reduced? No. But now Andhra tax, you can see land revenue collected after the amended tax in 1967, it was 12 crore 1 lakh. Previously in 62 it was 13 crores 26 lakhs. Now it is 12 crore 1 lakh. Come to Telangana, this is exactly the mirror image or the reverse of it. Like it was 5.1 crore, that is 5 crores 1 lakh. Now it is 5 crores 19 lakhs. Here it is a marginal hike, no reduction, but there is a hike. Why this injustice with Telangana? This is what we have questioned in 1969 movement. Lots of materials were distributed in 1969 movement, not only in the movement, even in TRC it was discussed, but of no use. Many discussions in TRC, if you see the TRC records, all these things were discussed in TRC, but because TRC is a toothless body, TRC is not a statutory body, it is not a council, it's a committee. So these things are becoming not so useful. Discussions are done, they are representing, but not fighting for it. This is the thing. Now, it is another crucial aspect of Telangana movement, that is employment. Since 1956, the violations were done till 68. It does not mean that there were no violations between 56. Since we are talking about the period, that is Andhra Pradesh, we are talking about it. Villodi, military rule, and every time you have violations. But that is not legal. Now it is legal. The violation has become illegal. Violations in employment has become a serious practice of Andhra rulers. There are 5 places where you can see the discrimination of Telangana. 1. Employment, promotions, gradation, transfers, service conditions. And they have ignored all the mulki rules, GOs issued by the same government. They issue the GO, but they don't implement. Secretariat, the General Administration Department, GAD issues a GO regarding non-mulkis, but they will never implement. They ignore presidential orders. They ignored constitutional provisions, Supreme Court orders. Everything is ignored. Blatant violation was done in terms of employment. This is a very serious issue happening with Telangana under United Andhra Pradesh. Basically because, first of all, TRC was having, in gentleman's agreement, Telangana Regional Council would have been the powers to employ or supervise the employment system scenario in Telangana. Now employment is not under TRC, so you can do anything, whatever you want. So center issued in 1956, Telangana and Andhra merged, and now it is Andhra Pradesh. Like Andhra Pradesh, there are many states in the country which were having their own mulki rules, own rules for employment. So to bring commonality, center has issued the Public Employment Requirement to Residents Act 1957. This was brought in on 7th December 1957, which abolishes different types of mulki rules in the country. Means all the mulki rules will go at once with this act, 1957 act. But they gave exemptions to Telangana, Manipur and Himachal Pradesh, Tripura. Because of the historical conditions and background of these states, they exempted these states from the act which was centrally promulgated, that is 57 Act of Public Employment. And accordingly, they brought in the rules in 1959. They called it as Andhra Pradesh Public Employment Requirement as to Residence Rules 1959. This was introduced and this will be applicable for Telangana for recruitment in government and local bodies, except the Cantonment Board. Cantonment Board, for example, Cantonment Board is there in Hyderabad or Secunderabad. These rules will not be applicable for Cantonment Board employment. That is a different purview. So, government and local bodies, you have mulki rules. Andhra Pradesh Public Employment Rules 1959 says, the first point, 15 years of residence, a local, and only locals are eligible for the, remember, this is very crucial point. Every second vacancy out of 3, there are 3 vacancies like this. Every second vacancy out of these 3, every second vacancy is for the local, in secretariat, HOD offices in Hyderabad and Secunderabad. HOD offices in Hyderabad and Secunderabad has to be written because if you just say HOD offices in Hyderabad, if any HOD office, any department is having its head office in Secunderabad, simply they can violate and say, you have said only Hyderabad, so we will violate. So HOD offices in twin cities plus secretariat. So the mulki rules will apply. RDO will certify that this person is a mulki, and this is applicable only for the non-gazetted posts. This is the essence of the mulki rules 1959. Tragically, previous mulki rules under Nizam or Hyderabad state had another provision, that is even gazetted posts were under mulki rules. Now what has happened? These mulki rules are applicable only for non-gazetted posts. So this is one loss. And then even after this, you can see the violation was done in a very treacherous way, and they have used all the ways and means to deceive the rule. Like first thing is a mulki has to be appointed in secretariat and HOD departments. So what they did was blatantly ignored this rule and appointed Andhras, number 1. Second, I just talked about the every second out of 3. What is happening? 2 out of 3 were reserved for Andhras now. When you say out of 3, second one is reserved for Telangana, what do you should understand? These 3 are open, but this is reserved. But what Andhras did was, this is a concept of reverse reservation. How they have reserved reversely? This post is for Telangana and these 2 are for Andhras. So in this reverse reservation, what has happened? It is not 1 post for mulki, it is 2 posts for non-mulkis. Is it not a reverse reservation? And for the second post, they will not recruit any Telangana person. As the mulki rule says, the condition is every second should be given to a mulki. What did they do? They did not recruit any person in the second post. Said the people who are coming for the interview or the examination or something, whatever it is, we did not get a qualified person for this post. So automatically what will happen? These 2 posts will be filled by Andhras and this post will be a vacant. And again piling up of all the vacancies, finally the same thing will happen. So as a result, you get more and more opportunities for Andhras and less opportunities for Telanganas. 2 reserved for Andhras, 1 reserved for Telangana. 1 reserved will not be filled and 2 open for Telangana will be filled by Andhras. So where is the Telangana? That is how we have seen a very few people in the secretariat in the next phase, even in the last phase of our Telangana station. We could see only a few people in class 4 posts from Telangana, and remaining HODs and many people are from Andhra in secretariat. That was the state of affairs in 2013 or 12. So exemptions were made to violate all these things. Like wife is working here or husband is working here. So spouse clause is one thing. Second is non-qualified locals are there. So fill someone from Andhra. Temporary adjustments or mutual transfers, border areas, they give something and just some person from Andhra will come into Telangana region and then finally settle down here. Dependents are refugees and army personnel, especially from Burma and army personnel. So this is one class. So you make some certificates and you can get a reservation in here, exemption. Then on humanitarian grounds, health ground or something else. So finally, these 6 methods were used to violate the Mulki rules, and finally Andhras are settling down in the employment. Posts allocated for Mulkis were first abolished, then filled with Andhras, as we have seen. Second post, what they have done, they did not fill. Finally, merged with the new posts, you get more number of posts for Andhras. 1,50,000 Telangana employees were harassed by the Andhra officers. As we have seen, service conditions is one of the important aspect. Andhra officers were harassing these people and saying that you people are incapable, incompetent, you don't have much knowledge, all these things they were talking. So this is one thing. According to some of the statistics, teachers, 2,500 non-Mulkis were appointed as teachers in Telangana because the class, as I said, exemption, no qualified local is the pretext. When you have no qualified teacher, you can appoint a qualified one. You can అనేది లేదు కానీ they have appointed non-locals, saying that there are no qualified locals. Why there are no qualified locals? Because we don't have enough teacher training institutes here. So teacher training institutes, Madras or some of the other centers, so trained teachers are coming into Hyderabad because they are saying that there are no qualified teachers in Telangana. Teacher training institute, basic trainings and all these things. So we don't have. So as we remember, in gentleman's agreement, what they were discussing, improve all the educational facilities in Telangana. You have to improve the facilities. You have to reserve the seats for Telanganites in those institutions. You don't improve, you don't reserve, and you make all the violations in jobs. This is what opportunist leadership of treacherous, blatantly violent, opportunist leadership of Andhra did. For example, you can see how, they have retrenched 44 employees in forest department. These are the statistics of this period. Who collected all these things? One is TNGOs and some of the books which were written during this period, 69 movement, they have come out with the clear statistics, cases. 44 retrenched Andhra employees in forest department there were recruited into Telangana. Now who is losing? Telangana people are losing. They have retrenched there and posted here, appointed here. So it is minus 44 plus 44. It should have been 44 Telangana people and more number of people should have been appointed in forest department in Telangana, and you are losing all the posts. Departments were integrated where Andhras get benefited. For example, some of the departments will be there. The same department or redundant activity doing similar activity. So departments will be merged. And it was done only where Andhras are getting benefited. But where Telangana is getting benefited, they were delaying the prospects. Why? Because if you delay the thing, you can postpone the gradation. Why gradation is important is, if the gradation list, if the seniority list, grading list, everything is done, the next is promotions. You can promote Andhras if you have a gradation list. If you don't have a list of gradation for Telangana employees, you will postpone the promotion. Thus, Andhras will climb the ladder, climb the higher echelons as fast as possible, and Telangana's people or Telangana employees will be denied of their share. This was done. For example, Public Works Department, if you see, out of 120 promoted, only 6 were from Telangana. 120 and 6. What is the ratio you can see? It's so horrible. This, in gentleman's agreement, we were talking about the ratio, even in employment, even in retrenchment, even in promotions. Now what we are seeing? We are seeing nothing is being implemented. Teachers' pay. Pay scales. In Telangana, pay scales were something else. Andhra state, pay scales were something else. Jayashankar was narrating his own story in his biography or some interview. The pay scale of Telangana was higher. When Andhra Pradesh state came into existence, they reduced the pay scale. Then Jayashankar and other people approached the higher authority, some district educational officer also, said, this was our pay scale, please retain it. Then he said, we are not going to do. Go and ask the person who has given you the pay scale. Who gave the pay scale? That is Hyderabad state. Can they go back to Hyderabad state and ask for the same pay scale and retain it? There is no Hyderabad state, there is no Burgula, there is no government of Telangana. Now it is Andhra Pradesh. This is the blatant answer. This is the shameless blatant answer they were giving. If you don't want, you can leave the job and we'll recruit the other people. This is what they said to Jayashankar and other people. So they have to readjust themselves for the lesser pay scale. This lesser pay scale, the pay scale was not adjusted when you integrate the department. This is one example of restructuring of the departments. And TRC, Telangana Regional Committee, appointed a ad hoc committee to look into all these violations. Hayagreevachari, a Congress leader, was the chairman of this, but this exercise was a futile exercise. They have done some work, they have brought out some facts, they have presented it, but there is no one to take action on them. So this is another violation. So what do you understand out of all these things? Basically, gentleman's agreement was an agreement which was made with an intention to safeguard the interests of Telangana people. Not just one field, not just employment, it is political, economic and agriculture. You can see political means when I am talking about the power sharing, like political parties, political power with deputy CM, CM post or portfolios, that should be in a fair and transparent manner, that sharing. So you have that clear writings in gentleman's agreement in terms of sharing of the power, but it was not done. So political violation you can see. Then second one is the economic aspects. What are the economic aspects? When we talk about the economic aspects, you talk about the agriculture. Irrigation is a very, very big subject which can alter the entire economic scenario of the country. For example, you take the case of irrigation. We have talked about big projects. I would like to explain about a smaller thing, like minor irrigation. What do you mean by minor irrigation? Tanks, wells and canals which are linking up the tanks with the rivers. So canals. Minor irrigation was never taken seriously. Allocations were done in a very haphazard or a biased way. If you don't allocate funds for minor irrigation, what will happen? The region which is completely dependent on minor irrigation, like Telangana, will suffer. Tanks will collapse. Desilting will not happen. When desilting is not happening, what will happen? The tanks which were storing more water will store less water. You don't have money to repair the canals. You don't have repair the streams. You don't have money to repair the sluices. You don't have money to repair the walls. So gradually what will happen? Tank will disappear, or tank will not serve the purpose which was serving as a great source of irrigation. In Telangana we have bigger tanks, very huge tanks, thousands of tanks. In Mission Kakatiya, what we are doing is resurrecting the whole thing now. I'll tell you, there is a proverb in Telangana. There is a saying in Telangana, it's not a proverb, like గంగాళం లాగా ఉన్న చెరువులు తాంబాళాలు అయినాయి. Gangalam means a vessel which will be having much depth. You can store much water like this. This is Gangalam. Tambalam means it's a flat plate like thing. Means the water retaining capacity, storing capacity of the tank is reducing to a minimum level where it is not useful for the irrigation purpose. This is what the pathetic condition happened because of the less allocations for Telangana agriculture, irrigation. That is how, if we link up this neglect of agriculture during this period, you can link up with the suicides of peasantry in Telangana in the latter phase. What is happening? I'll tell you a simple sequence. Tanks, wells neglected. Once you neglect all these minor sources of water, what is happening? If tank is drying up, if it is not storing much water, tanks are the storage, they work for the storage of water, at the same time they help for maintaining the groundwater table. If you don't have groundwater table, if the tank is not stored well, the groundwater table in the nearby areas are also falling. When groundwater table is falling, automatically what will happen? The wells which are giving you water at a higher level will go more deeper. Then you will set pumps, you will send pipes and take or lift the water. And now the old or traditional method of mota bavulu or other types of ratnam bavulu, all these things are gone. What is there now? You have bore wells. When you are going to dig earth and go deeper and deeper, gradually the water table is diminishing and you are not getting water. Previously we did not have bore wells because the minor irrigation source, that is tanks, wells, were supplementing the water needs along with the rain which is seasonal. Now you don't have tanks and wells, so groundwater table gone, and we are in quest of the water at 400 meters level. We are going deeper, digging and finally not getting water. And our peasantry is spending money on bore wells and getting indebted to the money lenders and finally committing suicide. Don't you see a bigger tragedy in an aspect like non-allocation of funds for minor irrigation? This is what has happened under United Andhra Pradesh. So irrigation gone, electricity is important for development, we have seen, and employment is such a bigger thing where you have lost jobs to Andhras. Thousands of jobs, not hundreds, thousands of jobs are lost to Andhras. Blatant violation. Don't say violation mere. Blatant is a must word along with violation when you speak of employment. How did they violate? There are some smaller techniques, like for example BHEL like place. In the next 1970s, we can see the change. Like industrial areas like BHEL, when people were getting jobs in BHEL, in fitter, turner, all the tradesmen jobs, what is happening? Many people from Andhra are getting enrolled in the employment at Sangareddy because employment exchange is the one which is sending the interview letters or test letters. So you should enroll in Sangareddy through fake certificates, fake local certificates. Many Andhras got fake local certificates in Medak district, erstwhile Medak district, headquarters Sangareddy. Sangareddy Employment Exchange was having more number of fake mulki certificates. And all these people became locals and took employment in BHEL like centers, where you can see people taking up the opportunity of getting a job here. Government jobs, we have seen how they have violated. Thus, if we have to conclude, the entire violations can be framed like this. They did not care for rules, agreements and courts. Violations, wherever it benefited Andhras, they have resorted to all these measures. In terms of projects, the bias towards Telangana projects, we can see. And finally, irrigation is a major aspect in the next phase of movement. R. Vidyasagar Rao, we'll talk about him whenever we have time or whenever we have a context also. In his book Neelu Nijalu, actually it was a series, written articles coming published, put in one book, that is Neelu Nijalu R. Vidyasagar Rao. It's a fascinating work about the problem of water, issue of water of Telangana. R. Vidyasagar Rao, he is no more now. He was active in Telangana movement, last phase. So, deceit in irrigation, agriculture, impoverished the peasantry and people. And all the suicides and the impoverished and the monoculture of the crop pattern in Telangana, we have to attribute to the United Andhra Pradesh governance. Monoculture, we had a vibrant agriculture pattern And United Andhra Pradesh brought in monoculture, only 1 or 2 crops, and we lost the vibrancy, we lost the capacity to regenerate, and we are dying. Means Telangana peasantry died because of this loss of vibrancy, monoculture aspect. And employment, non-mulkis grabbed the employment, and because of this, the last 20 years of violation, means 56 to almost 68. You can see 12 years. What is happening? All the violations. And before 56, at least you can start from military rule. 40. You can start from 50. 50 to 68. Almost 18 years of subjugation of Telangana by different means, deceit and violation is the spark which has lit the prairie fire of 1969. There is a famous saying, a spark can lit the prairie fire. Because we will be talking about 1969 agitation tomorrow in the next class. So I am talking about this spark. Spark can be somewhere, but once the spark becomes wider, it becomes a prairie fire. 1969 movement is a prairie fire, and these violations are the reasons why this spark has been lit to start 1969. Jai Telangana agitation.